welcome back to another cigar review by the Cigar Guys. My name is Alex, and today I'm going to be smoking the Davidoff Nicaragua Box-Pressed Robusto. This is one of, if not my favorite cigars that Davidoff makes. And one of the reasons for that is because the cigar is very consistent. So if I smoke a cigar that was made from 3 or 4 years ago, it's going to taste relatively the same as a brand new one that I would pick up at the shop today. I'm going to go ahead and cut it, light it, and we're going to get into the review. So the Davidoff Nicaragua stands out amongst their other products because generally Davidoff makes lighter cigars body-wise, so they have a lot of light to medium-bodied cigars. But the Davidoff Nicaragua is generally medium-bodied. Some people would say it leans more towards medium-full. I think it's a good true medium, and it's a wonderful cigar for Davidoff because those Nicaraguan tobaccos really bring out the best flavor. I think the box press variety also really helps bring out some of that flavor. You're getting a lot of flavor, especially on the retrohale. Of course, like most Davidoffs, the draw is excellent, very smooth with a lot of smoke output. Definitely a good cigar for someone who wants to try a Davidoff that isn't completely on the light body side. After a few minutes, I'm starting to taste some of that fresh spice and a little bit of sweetness as well. It's got a very woody aroma and a woody flavor almost. And like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, the reason I really like this cigar is because it's consistent every time. You know what you're going to get. And I say that because there's a lot of cigars that Davidoff has made in the recent years that didn't stay consistent over time. So for example, the Late Hour, when it first came out, I thought it was really good. It was a great medium, leaning towards full body cigar, especially for Davidoff. And it was an excellent, smooth but robust, rich chocolatey cigar. And after about a year and a half, the quality of that cigar kind of went down. Tunneling issues, burning issues, the flavor just wasn't the same. And I believe that the quality control overall has gotten better in the end of 2023. Kind of right now, we're trying some cigars that are coming back, so to say, making a comeback, better flavor, better quality. But the Davidoff Nicaragua is one of those cigars that I have never had an issue with. And I've been smoking these for probably about 6 years consecutively. Every once in a while, once every few months, whip one of these out because I just know that it's going to be top quality. Davidoff is a top quality brand. I think that they had a little bump in the road these past few years, but overall, they make high quality cigars, this one being one of the best. Still in the first third here, but that retrohale has got a lot of that fresh spiciness on there. It's not spicy, but it's a spice flavor, a flavor of fresh spices, an aroma of fresh spices. You get that sweetness kind of on the middle of your tongue there, a little bit of saltiness on the front. One way that I like to describe this cigar is that it just feels fresh, tastes fresh, it smells fresh. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's one of my ways to describe it. It's just like a breath of fresh air almost compared to a lot of other cigars. And like I said earlier, the box press variant is my favorite. I think that the other variants are great, but the box press is able to bring out a lot more flavor. I think that the draw is actually even slightly better on a box press cigar. When making a box press cigar, the roller has to take out at least one of the filler leaves in order to have it compress down and hold that shape. So it helps hold shape, but it also allows the draw to still be very open when you compress that cigar down, which I think is part of the reason why cigars like Padron are so sought after. The draw is excellent, and there's something about that box press shape that just allows for a very unique and very enjoyable smoking experience. So I'm approaching the end of the first third here, and I will say that the spice has come down quite a bit, especially on the retrohale. It's not as spicy as it was initially. Getting more of those woody notes on the tongue and on the retrohale. And the sweetness has turned more into a rich, almost chocolatey flavor note. This cigar has a smoke time of around 45 minutes. Could be a little shorter or a little longer depending on how fast you smoke. The ash is holding on nicely. Construction on it is good so far. The burn is not razor sharp. It's a little uneven, but that might be a humidity issue. I realized that this cigar was a little more on the humid side, not as dry as I would have liked it to be, but it's still smoking very well. It's very enjoyable. When I first got into cigars, I was smoking Padron 1926. That was like my go-to cigar, only because I didn't know any better. And the person that recommended me to smoke my first cigar told me Padron. Obviously, Padrones are on the medium to full, definitely full body side. And then from Padron, I transitioned to Davidoff, which is quite crazy for some people because you're going from a full body cigar to a generally much light bodied cigar. And then when I did discover the Davidoff Nicaragua, it was kind of the perfect middle ground. Medium body, it's got more of those rich, bold flavors like a Padron, but it is on the lighter body side compared to a Padron. Very smooth, just overall excellent. I think the price point on this particular cigar right now, MSRP, is around $18. I think if you want the box press Toro, it's closer to $20. These are one of the few Davidoffs that are under $20. Torpedo shape as well. You have a lot of Toro Robusto, different varieties. You have smaller cigarillo varieties as well. Davidoff used to make minis of the Davidoff Nicaragua, and those are excellent, but I believe they discontinued those a few years ago, so it's very hard to find them. And when you're talking about prices of cigars, there's a lot of high-quality cigars that are in the $20 range. Most people would prefer to find something that's high quality in the $10 range, especially if you can find something that's less than $10, it's great. But if we're going to talk about, bang for your buck, I would say this cigar is definitely worth the $18. Sure, you could find cheaper cigars that would be just as good. But if you really want to enjoy the aged tobacco flavor, especially as we get to the middle of the cigar, it's definitely a great cigar if you're looking for something like that. And again, consistency is huge for me. If you find a cigar that's $8 and it's really good, but it's not consistent, me personally, I might not come back to that cigar as often. But when you have a cigar that's pretty much the same every single time, you know what you're getting into, that is another reason for me to keep coming back because I know what I'm going to get. I think it's annoying when you smoke a cigar and it's really good and you really enjoy it, and then maybe a few weeks later or a few months later you come back to it, and when you try it again, it's not as good, and I think that's just very disappointing. So as you approach the part where the secondary ban is, you're starting to get more of that aged flavor, that aged tobacco flavor, as I said earlier. You're also getting more of a coffee taste to it. And if you take the smoke and kind of swirl it around a little bit, you taste some creamy flavor in there. And as we approach towards this main band right here, it's going to be more of a chocolatey flavor, more of those rich flavor notes. And that's another thing I really love about this cigar is the transitions throughout the cigar is consistent. You get all these different flavor changes throughout the cigar, and you start to notice them subtly, and then they kick in a little bit more. It's definitely a great experience. There's plenty of cigars where the flavor changes are very distinct. You have the first third tastes a specific way, then the second third is a specific way. But this cigar is kind of just a smooth transition of flavors. You get the spice in the beginning, you get more of the woody notes, you get that sweetness a little bit in the front, then it transitions slowly into a more aged tobacco tasting cigar. You get that coffee sneaking in on you, and after the coffee, you start to get those rich chocolatey notes. It's overall a very, very excellent cigar. If you enjoy cigar reviews like this, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you can stay updated when we upload new episodes. We do also have a podcast called the Cigar Guys Podcast, where we go more in depth on conversations about brands and different cigar companies. We talk about stuff on the back end of the industry. We also talk about some things that are off topics, whether it's conspiracy theories or personal stories. Overall, it's a fun time. We also have a lot of short content for you to check out, so make sure you look at the links in the description. You can find us on all different platforms. And also let us know what cigars you want to see us review next. Drop some recommendations in the comments or message us on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, any of those platforms. We'll be sure to get back to you and make some review videos for you. One thing I will talk about too is pairing with this cigar. I think that a nice cup of coffee, whether it's espresso or even a cappuccino, would pair very well with this cigar, complement the flavor notes very well. If you're looking for something a little stronger, I think that a nice sweet scotch would pair pretty well, but even better than that, I would go with a bourbon that's on the sweeter side. That way you can very much enjoy the sweetness of the bourbon, and then that would kind of pull out some of these rich flavors in the cigar, and that will complement each other very well. I think an Angel's Envy bourbon would pair well with this. If you want to go on the little more cheaper side, you can get a bottle of Four Roses. That bourbon would pair very well with this. On the Scotch side, I would probably say something like a Macallan 12 Double Oak would pair very well with this. It's going to be lighter on the palate, so you might have the cigar flavor notes coming in a little bit more, but you can still enjoy that subtle sweetness of the Macallan, and it'll still help bring out some of those flavor notes in the cigar. If you are looking for more tips on how to get the most out of your cigar, we do discuss that in our book, The Ultimate Guide to Cigar Smoking. That's also in the description down below. You can find that link there. You can also rep the Cigar Guys, get yourself some mugs, some shirts, hoodies. Become a cigar guy yourself. Rep the brand. As you approach the final third on this cigar, you're going to get a nice peppery aftertaste on there. You're also going to experience some more leathery notes, just once again adding to the complexity of the cigar, tasting a wide variety of different flavor notes, experiencing a bunch of different aromas throughout the cigar. It definitely is a very enjoyable experience. That's going to be it for this cigar review. Definitely recommend checking out the Davidoff Nicaragua if you want to enjoy a really nice and very refined cigar. Find it at your local retailer, order online from one of your favorite online retailers. Definitely worth the money, I would say. But thanks again for tuning in to another cigar review by the Cigar Guys. Once again, go check out all our links down below to find more content that you can enjoy. Support the brand. There's a bunch of different options for you. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can stay updated with when we upload new episodes of the podcast, new cigar reviews, or any of our short form content. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy.
Listen.